So Gladys, going back to that terrible day in December when Bylaw came here, he didn't give you a warning. He gave you something else too, didn't he?
He gave me 2 fines. The first one is being that he wanted me to show him his ID so that he can issue me ticket. And he wanted to speak to my friend, and I said, I don't want him to harass my friend. So I turned it down, and by the way that he speak to me, I feel that maybe I need to talk to my legal assistants. I don't know how to respond. So I said, I don't think that I should give it to him at that point. In fact, I think that he should leave because I just feel very threatened.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Mississauga, Ontario, and I'm actually in a shop called XL Music. I'm with the owner, Gladys Chan, and her son, Benjamin Chan. And folks, who doesn't like music? Well, I can tell you this. Apparently, the bylaw officers here in Mississauga, just will you hear Gladys's story. So, Gladys, we turned the clock back a month to December. You allowed a family of 3 to come into your store because if you're in the market for musical instruments, you want to try it out, much like a car. Who buys a car without test driving it? And then what happened?
So this customer, a friend of mine, basically came in to pick up some strings. And at the same time, the family has a need for a piano. So he said to me, can my son actually try the piano? And I thought, this is, but might as well. They're here, and you cannot buy a piano without trying it. So they sit down and try the piano. And
when we were closed for the day already, actually. So the interesting was we actually closed for the day, and we basically thought, you know what? If they were closed for the day, it doesn't really count as shopping, does it?
And so they were trying out the piano, and you're absolutely right. Some of these pianos are several $1,000s to buy. You want to make sure you get the right instrument. And I believe, Benjamin, you mentioned that there was an individual sort of lurking around the shop, and perhaps that was the person that, well, for lack of a better phrase, he ratted you out to Bylaw.
Well, I'm not sure about that. There are people who walk around here, and we don't know. We have a good idea who it possibly could have been, but I think what happened was I noticed. So what happened was at the front we noticed someone walking in the front door. So I wanted to know who he was. So as soon as I walked out, he started knocking on the door, and he shouted at me, saying he was a bylaw officer and demanded that we opened up. The way he was talking to us, I was shocked because he was talking as if he was a police officer on a warrant with a raid on a store.
And to me, Gladys, that's inexplicable. He's here. He's got a job to do. I don't agree with this policy of harassing, small merchants. But why the anger? Why the tone in his voice where he's yelling at you? Surely he could have dealt with you in a more civil fashion.
Exactly. That's exactly why I feel so turned off. I thought, the way he speak to me as if I'm a criminal. And right away, it just turned me off because he kept asking me. He said, you're not allowed to even have a friend in your store. And I said, really? I don't even know that because it's so confusing, all these restrictions. So I said, I really don't know that. And he repeatedly said to me, you don't know? You're lying.
He called you a liar.
Yes. And he said, you cannot even have your grandparent or your sister or brother in your house right now. And I thought, well, that is something that I never heard of. But at that time, he was really furious at me because he thought, you are not complying to law and now you lie to me.
Gladys, it is baffling because on many fronts, but first of all, it's a family of 3. They're in their own social circle, of course, in this shop. And yet we can go down the road here in Mississauga to any number of Costco's or Walmart's. They're jammed to the gills. You can't find a parking spot. Why is it that hundreds and hundreds of people can go to a big box store, no problem, but 3 individuals come into this shop to test out a musical instrument, and Bylaw is treating this place as a super spreader facility?
Yes, I really don't understand. To me, I think there's something wrong with this bylaw. I think for us, because we have this facility, and to me, I think if I practice like even just one customer at a time, or by appointment only, we should be allowed to open because there is a need for people to come in to try musical instrument. It is actually very, very important for them during this time for a lot of people's mental health.
And Gladys, it's been tough, hasn't it? I mean, you mentioned I see an incredible, beautiful supply of guitars here. These were supposed to be sold at Christmas time. Yeah. That's not the case. You do music lessons, but you've had to do them online. And there are many people that, you know, for whatever reason, cannot learn a musical instrument online. So those lessons have been lost too. How tough has it been in the last year? Because that's when you opened the business last January. How tough has it been during this pandemic to make a living?
It is very tough because the item that we sell, this is a musical instrument, people need to try it and feel it. First of all, our main service is to help them to find one that is best for their budget, that's the best for them. And for my students, some of the students, they have challenge, just like you said. Some of the elderly person, they have so much joy learning how to play musical instrument. And nowadays, because of this, they have to stop. Sorry.
And it's sad too, because you would think that learning a musical instrument, if there's a silver lining in this pandemic, so many people have nothing to do. I mean, I know jigsaw puzzles are selling like crazy, but I think there's only so many puzzles that you can make. So there might be an opportunity, if only they can come in, buy, test out the musical instrument, to do that as a hobby, and maybe learning an instrument, playing an instrument, maybe there's some therapy there in and of itself.
Definitely. And there is a lot of studies been showing that music is a therapy on its own. It makes people feel happier, take away their stresses. So I think, this is very important for people, especially during this time. Yes.
So Gladys, going back to that terrible day in December when Bylaw came here, he didn't give you a warning. He gave you something else too, didn't he?
He gave me 2 fines. The first one is being that he wanted me to show him his ID so that he can issue me a ticket. And he wanted to speak to my friend, and I said, I don't want him to harass my friend. So I turned it down, and by the way that he speak to me, I feel that maybe I need to talk to my legal assistants. I don't know how to respond. So I said, I don't think that I should give it to him at that point. In fact, I think that he should leave because I just feel very threatened. So that's why he gave me the first ticket. I was not non-complying. And the second ticket is that he feel that I opened the store for people to come in, so he gave me the second ticket.
So the first ticket, or the ticket for you opening the store, that would be the $880 ticket, and then the additional ticket for the non-compliant. So in total, how much were you fined that day?
We've been fined for $1,800.
$1,800. Well, Gladys, I think it's egregious. I think this is yet again another example of the double standard we've been displaying, folks, since this pandemic kicked in. Little music store, mom and pop operator gets an $1,800 ticket, but if you're a giant big box store, no problems, pack them in. And you know what? We're not going to take it. Gladys, we are going to take you on as another Fight the Fines candidate. We are going to make sure you get a top-notch criminal lawyer. We are going to crowdfund those fees. You don't have to worry about going to court. You don't have to worry about hiring a lawyer. We are going to do that for you through the generosity of our viewers. What do you think about that?
Thank you so much. I think that's a big help.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
Well, I think you've got a great case. I think this was so egregious. So Gladys Benjamin, thank you for making time to talk to us. And you know what, folks? This might be a sad song right now, but we're going to make sure it has a happy ending once we get it into a court of law. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you been victimized by bylaw or law enforcement when it comes to those coronavirus fines? Well, if so, please tell us your story. And you know what? If we think it has merit, we will go to bat for you. That's right. We will fund your legal fees through crowdfunding and get justice once the courts reopen. Please go to fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com. And folks, if you don't have a story to tell, but you'd like to support us in our crowdfunding efforts, please go to that website, fightthefines.com, And if you can, kindly make a donation. Thank you.